What if the real danger isn't the villains we fear but the heroes we trust? We like to imagine evil as something foreign, monstrous, alien, a thing with sharp teeth and no humanity. But what if that's a lie we tell ourselves? What if evil isn't a mask someone wears, but a choice, subtle, incremental, and terrifyingly human? Every act of cruelty, descent into darkness, begins with the same fragile seed, good intentions. Heroes don't fall because they were evil all along. They fall because of their strengths. Love, pride, conviction, ambition are twisted into something unrecognizable. This is not a video about villains. This is a video about us. About the terrifying moment when the light flickers, the line blurs, and a savior looks in the mirror and sees a monster staring back. We are conditioned to believe heroes are constants, moral anchors in chaotic worlds. But what if that anchor is only temporary, something fragile, breakable, even corruptible? The truth is, a hero is not a fixed state of being. A hero is a person, and people bend, people break. The fall of a hero is not a story about bad people. It is a story about what happens when ordinary human flaws collide with extraordinary circumstances. And when we watch them fall, we aren't watching strangers, we are watching reflections. So let's pull apart those reflections, not just as stories, but as psychological autopsies. Because to understand how heroes fall is to understand how we might too. There is a dark primal allure to power. For some, it is the only way to feel alive, to escape a life of quiet desperation. For others, it is a tool they grasp out of fear, a means to prevent a future of unimaginable pain. Consider Anakin Skywalker. He was not driven by a thirst of dominance, but by a consuming, almost debilitating love. His deepest fear was the loss of those he cherished, a fear that was exploited surgically by Palpatine. Anakin's turn to the dark side was a desperate bargain. He sold his soul not for wealth or glory, but for the power to save Padme from a fate he believed was certain. His heroic virtue, his capacity for immense love, became the very thing that broke him. He didn't become a villain out of malice, but out of desperate, terrifying sense of helplessness. If a good person is willing to sacrifice everything to save those they love, at what point does the love become justification for the ultimate betrayal? Then look at Walter White, a man who had no power, no respect, and no future. His descent into the abyss was not a single, catastrophic fall, but a slow, methodical march, driven by a primal need for control. He started by doing a bad thing for a good reason, but with every lie, every manipulation, every act that was brutal, he shed his morality and embraced a new, exhilarating identity. The Heisenberg persona wasn't a mask, it was the man he was always meant to be. Walter's story is a chilling indictment of human pride and ego, forcing us to confront the unsettling possibilities that, deep down, a lust for power lies dormant in the most ordinary of us, waiting for the right moment to be awakened. Is the potential for a Heisenberg just waiting for the right set of circumstances in all of us? For some heroes, the line is crossed not in pursuit of power, but in the service of a conviction so pure and unwavering that it becomes a moral prison. When the heroic ideal becomes absolute, any act, no matter how horrific, can be justified as a necessary evil. Daenerys Targaryen started as a liberator, a true hero driven by a mission to free the oppressed. She broke chains and burned slave masters, her actions celebrated as righteous, but with every victory and every betrayal her conviction hardened. The us versus them mentality she used to fight her enemies became a lens through which she viewed the entire world. Her mission was no longer about justice, it was about destiny. And when she burned King's Landing, she wasn't acting out of madness, but out of a twisted, terrifying form of logic. She believed she was a savior, and in her mind a corrupt world could only be purified by fire. She teaches us a powerful lesson. A heroic cause, when pushed to its logical extreme, can become a justification for the very tyranny it seeks to destroy. This same logic drove Eren Yeager, His journey began as a hero fighting for freedom, fueled by a singular righteous rage against the Titans. But when he discovered the horrifying truth that his people were a hated, oppressed minority, and that the only path to their survival was the annihilation of the outside world, his mission transformed. He chose to commit genocide, to unleash the rumbling, not out of a thirst for conquest, but out of a terrifyingly absolute conviction that the freedom of his people was more important than the lives of everyone else. He became a monster in the name of righteous cause. And at what point does the pursuit of our own group's survival become an act of monstrous villainy? And can a person who commits the greatest atrocity still be considered a hero by said people? What happens when a hero's fall isn't an accident of circumstance or psychological breakdown, but a cold, calculated and brilliant choice. These are the heroes who stand at the crossroads of morality and decide that the ends justify the means, no matter how horrific. Lelouch V. Britannia was a hero of intellect, driven by a desire to create a peaceful world for his sister. He donned the mask of Zero and became a master manipulator, orchestrating rebellion and making agonizing compromises, all for a noble cause. But his final villainous act, his transformation into the world's greatest tyrant, was the pinnacle of his heroism. By becoming the ultimate evil, he united the world against a common enemy, himself. His self-sacrificial death, the Zero Requiem, was a terrifying, brilliant move that proved his original heroic intentions. He chose to be a villain so a better world could be born. His story challenges the very foundations of our morality and asks, is it truly a sin to make an evil choice for a good reason? This question is even more profound with Ozymandias. He was a hero who saw the world pushing towards nuclear annihilation, and in his cold, rational mind, he found a solution. He orchestrated a massive fake alien attack, murdering millions of people in a singular, horrifying act. His logic was chillingly simple: sacrifice millions to save billions. He didn't become a villain out of greed or ambition. He chose villainy out of utilitarian calculation that transcended conventional morality. His victory is a moral trap, and terrifying success proves his logic was sound. Finally, what about the heroes whose dreams are so grand, so all-consuming, they demand the sacrifice of a very person's soul? Griffith was a hero of unparalleled charisma and ambition. His dream to have his own kingdom was not a fantasy, it was a destiny he was willing to fight and die for. He inspired absolute loyalty in his followers, and they would have done anything for him. But when his dream was shattered by torture and defeat, he was given a choice. And in a horrifying moment, known as the Eclipse, he made the ultimate betrayal. He sacrificed every person who had ever believed in him, every friend, every follower, to a demonic entity in exchange for ultimate power. His rebirth as Femto was a complete shedding of his humanity, a monstrous apotheosis that proved his dream was more important than the lives of anyone who helped him achieve it. Griffith's fall is a parable on the nature of ambition, warning us that a dream, untethered by empathy and consumed by ego, can be a soul-devouring force that leaves nothing but a beautiful, empty shell in its wake. We watch these stories from a safe distance, assured that these are fictional characters in fantastical worlds, but the lessons they teach us are brutally, uncomfortably real. Psychologists call it the Lucifer effect, the idea that ordinary people in powerful and morally compromising situations can be induced to commit acts of immense evil. The same love that drove Anakin, the same pride that consumed Walter, the same desire for justice that blinded Daenerys, and the same ambition that corrupted Griffith. These are not unique character flaws, they are fundamental human experiences. So as we see these heroes fall, we are truly forced to ask the most terrifying question of all. Are we truly better? If faced with the same impossible choices, the same emotional pressures, the same seductive whisper of power, would we stand firm? Or would we too make a bargain with darkness? These stories are not just about fallen heroes. They are a chilling reflection of the darkness that resides within us all. They are a profound, unsettling reminder that the line between hero and villain is not just thin, but in a world of moral ambiguity, it might be the only line that truly matters.